progress. As always, if you have any issues, my cell phone's right here in front of me, so send me a text. That's the best way, so that I can try to help guide you through whatever might be happening. Um, Very similar to last time where I talked to everyone about senior essays, resume, Common App FAFSA senior year. I'm talking about that again, but I'm diving way deeper into it because there's just so much we do with the students when it comes to these topics. I gotta shout out Anita because she's here all day, every day. She takes essays home. She meets with students on the weekend. She's meeting with parents on the weekend or at night as well. So I gotta give a big shout out to her because the work she's doing with our seniors is phenomenal. Um, I'll jump right in. Senior essay. This is gonna be by far the biggest challenge that your student's gonna have. Um, Essentially, a college is asking them to put their whole life story into less than 650 words. It is difficult, I won't lie with you. And we see so many essays, we see so many like senior essays that sometimes it can be a little repetitive, it can be a little mundane, it can be honestly quite boring. When the students are going through them themselves so many times, they often say, I don't like my story anymore. I want to rewrite the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, we have lost all the progress we made. So, Anita and myself try to coach each student individually. We print out their essays. For Anita and myself, we like to just have it on paper. We like to mark it up with a pen. Um, Jim was teasing me the other day. He called me an English teacher because I have a red pen that I go through every single one of their speeches with, and I make marks, I make edits, I make corrections. And I think maybe one of the students didn't like that because I seem to have lost my red pen, even though I always keep it close to me. But now I have purple. But basically, we take their speech, we print it out. I'm not gonna show it too close so you don't see, but like we print out every single senior's essay. Anita and myself will go through it and we'll mark it up. Grammar is basically the last thing we check on. We've actually been encouraging all the students to share their essays with you. So if you've gotten one, you probably may have thought, what is this? Why did they send it to me? Is it homework? Is it assignment? Is it for college? Essentially, for the students, they have 7 prompts to write for their essay, but the 7th prompt is write whatever you want to talk about. What we try to push the students to talk about is if there's one thing that you want a college representative to know, what would you want them to know? And what do you want them to walk away with? Their intro has to be strong. It has to hook that reader. Adina and I have met with college representatives from all over the nation, and they always say intros are going to stop me if they're bad, and I'm not going to read the rest. If they're great, I will keep going. It can be hard for a student to do that because they don't know how to hook someone. So we do tell them, think about it as a speech, as a conversation that you're having. You're trying to draw them in, you're trying to pull them into your story. A great one that I just had a conversation with a mentor yesterday about, he talked about the fact that he came here from Haiti, and while the words had the same letters, he felt betrayed by the alphabet because the sounds weren't the same. And it's like reading that from an outside perspective, it's like immediately you want to know more. So it helps when they think about that. I know one that I got the other day, and I won't say the name or the mentor, but they refer to their life as a daisy and the family around them being the petals that are near them and make them who they are. It's got to be something that the student feels passionate about. It's got to be something that they really like reading or talking about. Grammar is going to be the last thing we look at. It's going to be about mainly the flow, because while our students have such impactful stories, they have, oh my God, these kids are incredible. The things that they've been through, the things that they faced, it is amazing to see how far they've come. But to ask them to put it into words can be a little challenging. So most of what the students do is they'll write it down, and it may sound a little harsh, but Anita and I basically destroy the essay completely. We restructure it, we reformat it, we put more advanced vocabulary that we know that they know. They're just unsure of how to use it. And by the time it comes out, it is amazing, I gotta say. The way these kids talk and the way the kids tell their story, it is amazing. And this senior essay isn't just going to be for college applications, it's also going to be for scholarships come spring. So what we have them end up doing is creating this kind of master essay that they have. And then whenever they're answering questionnaires in the spring for scholarships or for interviews or whatever it is, taking pieces of those essays and plugging them in. We do tell the students, find something that you feel strongly about. So there's the daisy and the petals, there's ladybugs. I never knew that a ladybug is technically a beetle. A kid explained that to me by saying that their stories and who they are like the spots on the back of a beetle, and every single one is different, just like a snowflake, just like a fingerprint.
I didn't know that.
I never knew that. Another one talked about how his life feels like a rocket ship, where everything up till senior year is the blueprint, how he's trying to launch towards success. Granted, he didn't form it correctly, so it was a little confusing, but once we reformatted it and restructured it, it was like he was building the blueprint, trying to follow his brother's blueprint, but then realizing he's his own person and he's in a different environment. So now he has to recreate everything, and that's okay. So whatever it is that they feel good about, I highly encourage you to talk about it. I can go through each of you guys. I just won't say your mentee's name. That way, since the recording is out, I don't want something on YouTube to get out there. But Tim and Liz, Mariela with the daisy and the petals, she's on a really great track. Her format isn't so great, but we're getting there, and we're gonna have her add more details in. Steve, for your student, they're talking about circuits and voltage and electricity because he wants to become a mechanical engineer. He was trying to go too much into the explanation of what voltages and circuits are. So we're trying to restructure that so that he can talk more about his story. Meredith, for your student, she talked a lot about how her family, oh, well, by the way you're nodding, I'm guessing you already saw it. So that's good. For Jasmine, and oops, I accidentally said her name. My bad.
Yeah, she's a baker. I thought her essay was quite good. So I gave her a few pointers and hopefully she'll use them.
Yeah, especially when she talks about selling stuff and trying to create her own little business. It's definitely really good. Carol, for your student, I know she's struggling a little bit, and she was still focused on this one scholarship a few weeks ago. So we're trying to get her more focused on the college apps first. But it's going forward. Jeff, for your student, I know we sent some edits into her. I didn't get to see hers firsthand, but from what Indiana told me, she's making progress, and we're hoping that it'll be strong before the deadlines next week. Everyone, I will share some deadlines in a few slides about what our timeline is.
Daniel, may I say, just interject? I have seen it. I have given her input, and I'm not going to tell you how well I think it was written and what it said. I'll let you tell me after you read it.
All right.
I mean, I've been mentoring kids for 40 years. As you know, I'm very close attachment to my alma mater with endowed scholarship that we have. And they're college kids, and she's in high school senior. And I'll be interested to hear you tell me what you thought.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely will do. Tim, for your mentee, he's talking about the fact that his older brothers really kind of made a lot of accomplishments while they were in high school, and he kind of always felt in their shadow. And the way he's trying to end it, we're trying to get it a little bit more impactful, but I think he's on the right track. And it's definitely going to be a very impactful story. Alfredo, for your student, I feel a little bad, but I have never, I have not marked up an essay so much in so long, but his was. But it is very, very great because he talks about how he's incredibly shy, feels a little bit scared to open up to people and to talk to people. But at this point, it's like that's what he wants to do, and he wants to explore the world and make new friends because that's something he never had as a younger student. So I think his is going to be really great too. I'm just going to say here, I think all the students are going to have really great essays by the time they submit their essays. Mark and Linda, for your student, he talked about how he came from Haiti, not knowing when his last day there was going to be and the challenges that his family faced there. He was focusing a little too much on his grandparents' experience, looking for work and looking for jobs. So yesterday we did take out a lot of words so that he can reformat it and talk more about himself rather than his family, because while it's great that he talks about his family, we don't want it to be more than 2 paragraphs about his family. We want it to be more about him. So once you see that, you can kind of see that. Yeah. BJ, I'm guessing she probably already shared it with you. Oh, BJ, you're on mute.
Yeah, we talked about the ideas she was going to use, but I didn't read the essay yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's also doing really great because she's also practicing for a speech as well, that she's using something very similar. But she talks about the fact that our summer program opened up her eyes to the possibilities of going to school away from home, and how now she wants to explore the world because her vision before was so limited. So I'm really excited to how it's going to come out. I know her speech is coming out really well, but her essay itself should be very powerful.
Thank you.
Kathy, for your student, I haven't had the chance to read it myself. I know Anita was going through it as well, but right now, off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact details.
It's very creative. She talks about, she grabs your attention with the Barbie house and the foundation and all.
Oh yeah, I did read that.
Second floor. It's really creative.
Yeah, I remember it. And she was trying to talk about the different structures of a house, but I
Yeah.
don't think she ever built a house before, or seen how a house is built. So she didn't know. So we did fix some of that. So it should come out very well. And then we also related her going to college as kind of a home expansion. She was trying to talk about a second floor, but she talked about her house has an attic. So we switched that to instead be a home expansion, like adding another room or
Oh,
something.
good. And I forwarded that to my son's girlfriend, who works with intern at University of Tampa with interns, and so she had a lot of great pointers that I shared with Rosalind. So I'm happy to share it with you if you want to share with the group if they get any ideas to help their mentees.
Yeah. If you send it to me, I can include it in my recap afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Well.
The students overall do very well. I think one of their greatest weaknesses is during an essay, they shouldn't be using contractions like can't or don't or won't. So that's the first thing we mark up. The other thing, they are trying their best to use metaphors and to use similes, but too often they're using like or as. They're using words that they really don't need in their essay. So we do take those out for them so that they can use that word count for other things. Because again, they got to put everything in less than 650 words, which is basically a little less than 5 paragraphs. And I don't know if you've ever tried to tell your whole life story in 650 words, but man, it can get hard. I know these students are doing a really good job. At the very beginning, we tell them not to worry about the word count, to not stress about it, to just write what they think is right in their heart. And we can always cut it back later. This way, we can also work with each student one-on-one to see what is most important to them and what can we remove out. Kind of like how I was sharing with Linda, with a lot of the students, they might talk about their families, and that's great. But with the essay is not about their family. It's not about their parents or grandparents or cousins or how they immigrated here to live a better life to support their family. That is impactful, but the review should be about them. And so we do work through that, and we do coach one of them, each one of them. So it is a process, but we are going through it. Resumes, I think I had this on the last slideshow from last month, but they also get templates from us. Anita has created, I think, about 30 on Canva, where the students can just pick one that they like. They like the colors or the format or the layout or whatever it might be. The students tend to struggle with how to format their resume when it comes to the bullet points or the years or whatever it might be, just describing about themselves. So if you ask your student for your mentee, try to coach them and encourage them about how to brag in the right way on a resume and how to speak confidently. Because, okay, they tutored kindergarten through 2nd grade students, that's one bullet point, but they're also leading small group activities. They're in charge of the cafeteria or dismissal or recess or whatever it might be. They themselves are leading that small group. But when they write it in the resume, they just say, I tutor kindergarten through 2nd grade students. No, like they do so much more than that. Some of your students are in charge of the walker dismissal lines, car dismissal, bus dismissal. Some of your students are on the buses, making sure that at each bus stop, the student is going with someone from their family. And when they just put a tutor kindergarten to second, they're not talking about everything else. So definitely ask your students, what else do you do at work? Or what else do you do in your club or your activities? Some of our students, I gotta say, I don't know when they sleep because of the fact that they're involved in so many activities. I mean, granted, back when I was in high school, yes, I did a whole lot, but these students are doing so much more where they're also presidents or secretaries or treasurers, or they're volunteer group leaders, or they're fundraisers. But having them write that appropriately in their resume can really help give that boost. It's not just about being a well-rounded student anymore. It's about being what's called a T student, the top student, where they're performing and being leaders in and out of the classroom. So we're trying to help the students really engage with that and show that in these small blips that these representatives are seeing. What we'll always do with our partnership colleges and any other college that we have a relationship with, if there's a student of ours who is on the brink, who might get in, might not get in, they're right on the edge, but we know how badly they want to get in, we will call that college for them and say, hey, this is our student. This is some of the things they've struggled with. This is some of the things that they're going through. And this is how they're overcoming it. This is the progress they've made. Can you please just give them a little bit more leniency and think about them a little bit more? We have done that for students in the past, and then for certain partnership universities as well. If one student has demonstrated way more that they want to go to a school out of state, and we believe that school is a very great match for them, we'll call that, our partner university, our representative, and say, hey, we want you to look at this student a lot more closely because we think they could be very successful on your campus. We're happy to do that. Our students do phenomenal, and we're working with them each step of the way. But definitely ask your students, what more are you doing? How can you really impress this person who's going to review your application, who unfortunately is also going to review probably another 1,000 applications? How can you make yourself stand out? The Common App. So I wanted to share these deadlines with everyone. We're having all the seniors, if they are interested in attending our partnership university, Arcadia, we are having them complete that by October 10th. If you don't have a calendar in front of you, that's tomorrow. Arcadia is a great partnership school. With them, they have a student events the first weekend of December. This is the school that their deadline is a lot earlier than everyone else's, just because the school wants to select the scholarship recipients and then fly those students out to Philadelphia to see the campus, experience the university, and make a decision on whether or not they want to attend it. The scholarship does cover the full cost of attendance. For FAU, UCF, and FSU, we are having them apply by October 15th. Reason being, they have these priority deadlines in place. The schools do, not us. The schools do, where they will offer more financial aid. They have a higher chance of being accepted, and they're also applying either into a first-gen minority program that will consider them more than the general admission application deadline. So they're higher likely to be eligible. For everyone else, we want the students to basically be completed with all applications by November 1st. So they have a few weeks between now and then. It can be stressful, but for all the other schools, November 1st is that priority deadline where they'll be more eligible for scholarships and have a higher chance of admission. Now, we're not telling them the fact that they can still apply later on because we want them to finish it by our dates. But if, say, a student is experiencing some trouble or having some difficulties where they don't believe they can make this deadline of November 1st, we're going to work with them one-on-one. We even have some situations where we are pulling students from work because they are behind or they're facing some trouble so that they can focus on this. Typically, most of the students get worried about that because then they worry about their scholarship hours. What we tell the students at that point is, this is more important than that. We will figure out your scholarship hours later. There was one student 2 years ago whose family was going through a lot of issues due to their status here in the country. The student was attending appointments with them, going through college applications, going through everything that they had to face outside of us. And she came to us and she's like, I don't think I'm going to make my hours. that was the least of our concerns. First, we talked to the student about whether or not they're okay, how their family is doing. And then later on, we were able to make up those hours so she can get the full scholarship. For our students, priority number one is their health and safety. So we will make sure that they're okay with that first. Then we will go on to college applications. We do also remind your students that school still matters. They are seniors, so senioritis tends to kick in, and they are definitely feeling overwhelmed at this point. They have all these applications, then they still have their homework, they still have their clubs and their responsibilities at home, so it can get very tiring. Definitely tell them to take a breather or two, but looking out for themselves is number one. FAFSA, for all of our students, we did already have them complete the FAFSA for the 25 to 26 school year. That's this school year. The reason we do it early is so that we can see what they have for the SAI, which is the Student Aid Index. That number that they receive, that is the SAI, ranges between negative 1,500 and 99,999. That number is what the IRS and the federal government believe the family can provide for their students' education. So the lower the number, the better. Almost all of our students have negative 1,500. That means that their family can't provide anything for their children to go to school. This means that they'll be eligible for the maximum Pell Grant, which is $7,395. That it covers whatever is in their bill at the school. If a student, for example, is attending FSW, Florida Southwestern State College, that 7,395 will typically cover their full cost of going to school as a commuter. If they're going to a school like FGCU, UF, UCF, USF, somewhere else where they need to pay for dorm and meal and tuition, that Pell Grant will typically cover the cost of classes, but they'll need to find additional scholarships to cover the rest of the cost for attendance. That SAI is also important because once they apply for scholarships in the spring, that number is what those scholarships will look at to see if that student is eligible for their scholarship. There are certain ones that will look at that and say yes, no right away. And there are others who just take it into consideration to get an idea of what that student's home life is like. And again, the SAI ranges from negative 1,500 to 99,999. And then the maximum Pell Grant is $7,395. It does typically increase every year, but it's stayed at that 7,395 for the past 2 to 3 years. I will add also for some of our partnership universities, they do have to be Pell eligible. We are seeing a change in the demographics here in Immokalee where there are some students whose parents may have gone through a program here, such as ours or even Immokalee Foundation, and they return to the community to be educators. We have a student in our sophomore class who I actually knew his mom when I was in high school because she was a college student from Tutor Corps. And the fact that her kid is now a sophomore in high school and actually in my program, it completely blows my mind. But there are some of those changes. So there are 2 students who don't receive the Pell Grant, but that is okay. We do help them find additional scholarships or apply to schools where the financial aid will be sufficient to cover their cost of attendance. On Monday, we are taking all the juniors and seniors to Vineyards Country Club for Leadership Day. This was an event in the past where we would actually take and invite mentors out to, but now we actually host it specifically for the students in a kind of conference workshop style. And this is where the students will actually get to attend. They'll hear from a panel of speakers. They'll get a presentation on etiquette. They'll get some small workshops with their classmates about different topics. So if your student is a senior, they're going to attend on Monday. There's no school on Monday. They will depart the center here in Immokalee at 8 a.m. so that they can be at Vineyards Country Club from 9 to 9:40. They will be able to get a small snack or a drink. Dawn will do our introduction at 9:40. We are going to have a panel of speakers who have gone through their career and want to give advice back to the students. So some of the common questions are going to include, what made you want to choose your career, or what lessons did you learn along the way? Each one of your students has received one of the panelists or all the panelists' bios and information. And their homework from this week has been come up with a few questions for these panelists. It is going to have a Q&A so that the students can stand up and ask their questions. For some of the students, it's completely terrifying. But for some of them, it is a little bit more comfortable, so they're okay to stand up. But definitely talk to your student about what they think of the bios. Anita did email them to them. So I know they're super busy, so some of them may not have gotten to it yet, but they are all working on it. At 11:05, they are going to have an etiquette presentation. This is actually a great one for our students because it also walks them through how they should behave at a dining table and what to do when there's multiple forks or knives or spoons. The students had a great time with it last year. Last year was the first time we did it, and I sort of embarrassed myself because as I was doing what I do, the presenter was saying, don't do these things, and I was doing them at the table in front of the kids. So the kids thought that was absolutely hilarious, and I learned some lessons that day, but it helps them be more comfortable in that kind of professional sitting environment at a dining table. They will have a keynote speaker, and then they will break into small workshops. The seniors will get a financial lesson from JP Morgan. We've actually asked the representatives to talk about what it's like to be a freshman on a college campus and what those offers are. So when the college campus has people who are telling them to sign up for a credit card or to sign up for those buy now, pay later programs or those get your paycheck early through these programs, the JP Morgan representatives are going to walk them through that and how that actually impacts their credit, their financial stability, and how it can affect them in the long term. For our second workshop with the seniors, they're going to be networking skills with Christy. She's going to treat it. One of the difficulties that our college students have had is that at college fairs, internship fairs, job fairs at college, they are terrified of talking to someone that they don't know. So Tracy will be having it in that style where they're going to have to get up and talk to different people around the room. They're not going to be able to just sit with their friends and listen to a presentation. No, they're going to be up, they're going to be active, and they're going to be talking. I'm very excited for that because I love when the students come out of their shells and finally realize there's so many people out here who want to help them. And then we'll close out the day with Bob Spano, and then we will have the students back in town by about 3:30.
Daniel, this is Tim Scully. What day is that scheduled for?
Monday.
Monday, okay.
So I will put another shout out to Anita, and she actually joined the call, so she will see. But she tracks a lot of information for the students, including where they're applying to, GPAs, dual enrollment GPA, what their scholarship funds are from us, as well as if they received any from any outside partners, what they're trying to major in, their top 3 majors, their top 3 school choices, where they're at in the FAFSA application process, what applications they've submitted for partnership colleges, whether or not they're eligible for Bright Futures, and if a student is applying to a partnership university, her and I tackle that together where we contact the university to let them know, hey, you should look at the student a little more closely. Everyone should have received my invite to the Mentor Tutor Dinner on November 6th. If you didn't get it, shoot me over an email, and that way I can resend it to you. That way you can RSVP. That one should be an exciting one. We do have it here, but it's pretty great because that's right around the time when students have completed their college applications, and you can kind of see a lot of the pressure has been relieved from their shoulders, and they feel a little bit easier to breathe right before we slam them with all the scholarship applications that they need to do. So it's a little bit of a break. On February 21st, we are planning to have the Mentor Tutor Picnic at Hideaway Beach on Marco Island. As of right now, our planned event for the culture event is on March 28th, A Beautiful Noise, the story of Neil Diamond. Artist is confirming with me early next week ticket pricing and availability. So I'm hoping to have that final answer next week with everyone. And then if you don't have it marked on your calendar yet, April 23rd is our senior celebration at Vineyards Country Club in Naples. This is where we will celebrate the students and everything that they've accomplished and announce some of our additional scholarships that they may receive from us. It is a really great night for the students, and they get so excited and everyone gets dressed up. And It is by far my favorite night of the entire year. Oh, there you go. And if you're interested in one of our other events, we do have a few, including Seeing the Bigger Picture, which is happening on the 23rd, Art of Appreciation on November 13th. Our annual holiday gift shop is December 13th, 14th, and 16th. Oh, 14th, 16th, and 17th, sorry. And if you're interested in volunteering at that event, please let me know, or you can shoot an email to one of our Naples team members. That is a great event where we are giving the gifts to the little ones and their family. Well, we give it to the parents so that the parents can take it home, wrap it up, and the parents can decide for themselves to tell the kids if it's from Santa, if it's from parents, if it's from Santa. That's up to the parents. We just want to give those toys out so everyone has a great Christmas. Our annual gala is January 16th, and then our Buddy Day is February 16th. And then, thanks to Anita, she has been tracking, like I said, all right, I'll finish this out and then I'll share what you just sent over. Does anyone have any questions before I jump into Anita? No, cool. Everyone's awaiting my surprise. Cool. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So thanks to Anita, who does such a wonderful job. With the Common App, we have the students list her as an advisor. That means that she can input herself into their student portal, see what their application progress is, and also see every single school that they're interested in or applying to. So that means that she just sent me a list of all the kids and the schools that they have in their Common App. So again, without sharing names, I am going to share what schools your student has on their list. As soon as I pull it up on my other window, I can get a better view. Tim and Liz, your mentee has the following schools. She has Florida Atlantic, FGCU, Roberts Wesleyan, and University of South Florida.
Great.
Steve, your mentee, right now only has 2, but we know he's also hit it a lot more. Right now he has University of Florida and University of South Florida. He is very interested in engineering. So he's probably going to add all the engineering schools, including FSU, FGCU, and UTF. Meredith, for yours, she currently has CU, IU, UTF, UF, University of Miami, USF, and University of Tampa. Carol, sorry, hold on, I lost it. Carol, right now your student has FSW and FGCU, but I know she was also mentioning Santa Fe and some of the partnerships. Yep, I know she's mentioned more, but right now she does have listed FGCU and UCF. She has also talked about UF, FSU, and USF. Tim, your student has a lot. Just so everyone knows, applying to a college is basically free for pretty much all of our students, so they can apply to as many schools as they would like. So Tim, Juan has Arcadia University, Augustana College, Cornell, Duquesne, Eastern Mennonite, GCU, FSU, North Central, Roberts Wesleyan, St. John's University, University of Mary Washington, Villanova, and Warburg. We provided our list of partnership universities to all the students, and Juan, I was supposed to say your name, sorry, your mentee added all of them. I know he's excited and about the thought of leaving the thing.
Well, he wants to play football.
I think he could do well at a Division III school.
Yep.
Mark and Linda, give me 1 second. Right now, your student has GCU and St. John's University. I know he has also expressed interest in USF and FSU. But those are his as of right now. BJ, your student also has a lot. She is getting experience through the Sunrise Scholars with Ken Summers, but right now she has Albine College, Brian Moore, Dartmouth, Eckerd, FGCU, Lawrence, Middlebury, Mount Holyoke, Muhlenberg, North Central College, Rhodes, Scripps College, St. Olaf College, Stetson University, USF, Wellesley College, and Wesleyan University.
FSU is not on the list?
No, she really wants to leave Florida.
I know she wants to get out of town, right? Okay.
Nancy, for your student right now, she has FGCU, FIU, FSU, Roberts Wesleyan, UCF, and UF. Alfredo, your student has, I just pulling it right now, Alfred University, Loyola, University of North Florida, and FGCU. Kathy, your student has FGCU, St. Mary's College, UCF, and USF. Juan, your student has FGCU, Lafayette College, University of Florida, and University of South Florida. And then we do have the list for all the students. So if you have a mentor friend who has a senior who wasn't on today, or anyone watching the recording, if you want to know your students' universities, please let me know and I can send over that list to you. No problem.
Can you tell me Herb's mentee, where he's applied? He's on another Zoom call right now.
Yeah. He has Alfred University, Arcadia University, FAU, FCU, FIU, FSU, St. John's University in Minnesota,
Okay.
UCF, and UF, and USF.
Thank you.
Carol, do you have a question?
Yeah, unless I missed it, I can't remember if you said anything about recommendations and whether getting recommendations is part of the process at this point, and how many they need to get and help them with that.
Yeah, so it really depends on the school. Some schools won't require a letter of recommendation, while others are very specific. The most specific ones are going to be where they require 2 recommendations, where one is from a counselor and the other one is from a teacher. There are other schools who say that they can submit a recommendation letter from a counselor, teacher, a community member, an organization lead, or even a coach. It really depends on the school. A lot of the schools that I have seen don't actually require any recommendation letter. They just encourage to put it in their application. So it is up to the student whether or not they place it in there. I always encourage students to have one from their counselor, because the counselor can see all 4 years of their academics, and then a teacher for the kind of field that they want to study. So if they're interested in engineering and they're participating in the engineering academy at the high school, they should have a recommendation letter from that teacher, or vice versa, the nurses, the ones interested in nursing, from the healthcare academy at the high school, but most closely related to what they want to study. If they also, like, say they really enjoyed their time with Guadalupe and they felt very passionate about their time at Tutor Corps, Anita and I are happy to write recommendation letters for students. Your student might ask you for a recommendation letter. So if that email comes to you one day and you need to know more about their academics, grades, or anything like that, and you need that information, please feel free to ask me.
Do you find that they help, especially for those students that may be kind of borderline?
They definitely help when they're on the borderline, because there's the people willing to vouch for them and tell like how they can come across.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions that I can answer before I initiate the breakout rooms?
Just a question. Do you have, similar to, I guess, the list of schools, any of us who might have a student who's lagging in their application or, doesn't have their essay written, any feedback you can give us?
So typically, if a student's lagging, I call their mentor right away so that we can tackle them from all avenues. I am thankful that I have not had to make any of those phone calls this semester so far. But believe you me, if that moment does arise, you'll get a phone call from me. And not to say that the phone calls are always bad. If your student accomplishes something great this year or they get some really outstanding scholarship, I'm also going to want to call you about that as well. So there's also that possibility.
Can you refresh us on the dates?
Yeah.
The essay needs to be done on the 20th, is that correct?
So the school's application, Arcadia, is tomorrow, October 10th. For FIU, FAU, and FAU, UCF, and FSU is October 15th. And then for all other schools, they should have everything completed by November 1st. All right. Any other questions?
Any students you know are not going to be on the breakout session, namely ours, Daniel, or any idea?
I believe she said she texted you because she was at I want to say a doctor's appointment.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're going to talk tomorrow. That's good. Thanks.
Yes, she said she wanted to schedule something separate with you, so that way she can make up for today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. You will hear the recording stopped message.